Getting to your first command in the military is going to be pretty nerve-wracking. If you want to find out some info about how that works, or if you're coming up on going to your first duty station, you might want to watch this. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's go right to the topic, and that is, what is the process? What is it like going to your first command, duty station, post, whatever branch you're in? This is going to be very relevant for you. So many of you guys are getting orders and you're not happy, or you're super happy about where you're going to be going to actually do your job. But the first thing I want you guys to know when you're leaving your AIT, your tech school, your A school, whatever you want to call it, is once you get your orders, cool. There's going to be a process for you to get plane tickets or go wherever you want to be at. But I want to get to that next. But the first thing I think is important before you even get plane tickets, because you'll want to contact somebody at the next command. Usually this will include somebody in your orders. If you've received a hard copy set of orders, that you can contact maybe some kind of sponsorship program in order to reach somebody, or that sponsor has already reached out to you. As many of you guys have not really dealt with having an official email probably in the military, or maybe don't use it as much as you should at that point in your tech training. You may want to reach out to this person via email, or see if they can reach you via Facebook, however you end up communicating. Normally every command has some kind of program to reach out to new people coming to the command. Next is how you're going to get to your next spot. I was talking about plane tickets. So yes, you can have plane tickets from your current duty station to where you're at. I want to let you know that as you coordinate the plane ticket and you get it, the government will pay for it. You'll then travel to your next duty station. Typically, they may have a duty van take you to the airport, or you can also take a cab or Uber and also get reimbursed that way, depending on how your A school or your tech training or whatever does it. And that's where the sponsor comes in hand as well, because obviously you should want somebody to meet you at the airport. Or if they're not going to meet you there, which is very rare, typically they do, they will end up meeting you at the airport and taking you back to your command, where you'll check in at that point. I do want to also say that before you go to your next command, typically a lot of orders will allow you some kind of leave period, typically 2 weeks, maybe a month, something like that. So understand, this is not free leave. They're not just saying, here, take it. They're giving you the opportunity. So many of you guys that are maybe going to go overseas, or haven't seen your family since before boot camp, and then you went to tech school or A school, MOS, whatever, and you want to finally see them again, this is a really good opportunity for you to do that. Make sure that you know how many days you are authorized to leave. Also, understand how many days you have on the books, because I feel like a lot of people that go to the next command that are taking leave in between maybe burn too many days, not realizing when they get to the next command actually work, they may want to go travel somewhere else, especially if you're overseas, and they may also want to have extra days to go back home for the holidays and things like that. Next thing I want to talk about too is with traveling to where you're going to be at. I know some of you guys may have a vehicle where you want to travel from one point to the next, or you may have families traveling from one point to the next, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So if you have a car, what you can do is arrange to reroute your ticket from your A school, tech school, whatever, to your home of record, wherever that is, or wherever your car is at. Go from there, and then let the military know you're going to be traveling by POV, personal vehicle, to your next duty station. There are a lot of days per how many miles are going to be from that point to your final duty station. Also, you get paid money for gas and food and all that kind of stuff. So you can also ask for an advance if you want on travel. I suggest not doing that, possibly saving a little bit of money, being a little frugal, so that when you do get the money from the military, that way it feels like just maybe an extra payday. Now, if you have family, understand that that's going to be part of the process as well. You probably will want to go back home, meet up with your family, get all of your stuff, maybe have the moving company move your stuff for you, which you can go to the local housing office and they will process that, and you'll set up that move from where your home of record is or wherever that's at to your next duty station, and then drive with your family there as well. Or you can also do a rental U-Haul type thing and move it yourself as what we call a Diddy move, where you can make a little extra cash if you want to do it yourself, but there's more process. Again, your local housing household goods office can actually talk more about that. Now, moving on to what to talk to your sponsor about, or who's going to meet you at your final destination. There's a couple things that I would really ask about. First would be where you're going to be living, what to expect. That way, if you do want to bring stuff from your tech school or maybe from home, you can arrange that. Even if you're not with a family, you're maybe going to have a barracks room, you can coordinate your family to have a pack out and have the military ship maybe even your TV and some smaller items to your next duty station. That way you don't have to go back home, and they just have your parents release it to the moving company and it sends to your next duty station. That's a very good idea for a lot of people that maybe aren't going to go home. But yes, I want you guys to ask your sponsor, ask whoever it is that you're meeting at your next command that's going to be indoctrinating you to where you're going to be working. Ask them about your living situation. I think that's a huge key thing many people overview or maybe don't really think about, other than just, oh, I'm going to this location. So I would ask them how your conditions will be. Next, if you are overseas, realize you're going to have a different phone plan. Ask the benefits, the cons, pros, whatever, of if you want to use something like Sprint or T-Mobile, which have a unlimited data plan for worldwide, or maybe you're going to use the local provider that you have in your overseas command area. And next, I want to say you can ask about a lot of the stuff to your sponsor about how work's going to be and all that kind of stuff, but reality is that's a lot of what your first month or two of being there is going to be. So you really don't need to ask too many questions. I know you may be very curious, which is awesome. If they're willing to answer the 20 questions game like I usually am, yes, definitely ask it. Maybe get on the phone and talk to them. But do realize that it is what it is. You're going to find out, whether you find out before you get there or right when you get there, how everything works as far as duty, how long your working hours are, you know, what are your opportunities there. Keep it to the basics of where you're living, how you're going to eat, how you're going to get there, all that kind of basic stuff, and the necessities that you may see fit that will help before you actually go. And this is a good question to ask too, is because ask your sponsor what they're gonna need from you. That way you make sure you don't miss anything. Typically, a lot of times they will ask a questionnaire to make sure they're not missing anything. So if you have kids, if you have a wife, if you've got a dog, whatever else, they know how to accommodate you a little bit better. And it could be if you do have a family or whatnot, if they're gonna allow you to live out in town, very rarely, but it can happen. But see about getting you in maybe the lodge, get a reservation so that you can find a house. There's all these different things to consider, but these are just the very basic fundamental things that you should consider before your first command. Mind you, this is your first indoctrination to the military move process. It's very extensive, tons of paperwork, tons to do. You're gonna be constantly busy, and do not let the stress overwhelm you. It is very, very, very easy to let that happen as you go to your first command, because you never experienced something as chaotic as a military move. And that's not because you only have your stuff, your life, your kids, family, dog, your car, everything moving. You also have to worry about the work side. You don't just get to say peace out and that's it. There's a lot of stuff on the work side to make sure you get paid, make sure the command knows you're coming, things like that to make sure that you get there smoothly. If you do have questions along the process, don't be scared to ask. A lot of people know that you're going to be very new to the military, so don't feel afraid to ask. I know as you guys are in A school or you're in your entry-level training, you may feel like just a number and no one's willing to answer your questions, but ask and ask again if you really have to. But I'd rather you guys feel more confident than not, and I hope that this video itself may be able to help you answer a couple questions or understand how things work, maybe before you hit the process or if you're already in the process. But if you have experienced a military move, can you tell me some good horror stories down below? Because obviously I've been in 10 years, I've got a couple good ones of my own. But if you do have questions about the military, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.